Hey guys, welcome back to True Crime with Shannon, where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Well, it is about that time for Angela Pollina to get her time, her day, or days, as it may become, in court in the charge of unaliving of little Tommy Valva. And I covered the case of Tommy initially with his father last year. And his father is now serving a life sentence in jail, in prison. So if you're not up to date on this story, please do check out my playlist on little Justice for Little Thomas Valva. This is a very sad case, and it's out of Long Island, New York, specifically Riverhead. And it's not a nationally known case, which is very sad because it involves an ex-NYPD cop who was Thomas's father, still is, even though the little boy is deceased. It involves him, and he's in jail. Like I said, he's in prison for life. And this woman on the screen right now, that's Angela Pollina. She was engaged to be married to Michael Valva, which was Tommy's father. And Michael does have two other boys who thankfully are back in the hands of their mother. And I will be discussing that as well. But this case was initially set to begin tomorrow, which was Tuesday the 21st. They have moved it to Wednesday because today is President's Day, so the court is closed today. So they initially had it for the 21st, and it looks like it was moved to Wednesday the 22nd. So again, this is Newsday. Pretty much Newsday and The Patch are pretty much the only two major media outlets covering this case. And Newsday is probably mostly known by a lot of folks even outside of New York. So this one I'm going to be covering extensively on the channel. So hopefully I can get you guys all the info I can. Unfortunately, they don't allow cameras in the courtroom. They did have it during the verdict and some video footage, kind of on and off throughout Michael Valva's trial. But yeah, they don't really have any live video allowed in court in Suffolk County. So again, this is Newsday. Angela Pollina's unaliving trial and Thomas Valva's death expected to begin Wednesday with jury selection. And again, I wanted to reiterate the fact that the reason I don't say the M word or there's the R words, there's certain words that YouTube just does not like. So unfortunately, the M word is definitely one of them. So guys, that's just something that they don't like, and unfortunately that's just how it goes. So if you say those words on your channel, you tend to not get as much it doesn't get out there to as many folks and as many eyes seeing it. And especially in cases like little Tommy Valva, this needs to get out to as many eyes and ears as possible. Angela Pollina has been betrayed in court as the evil stepmother, the force behind 8-year-old Thomas Valva's banishment to a freezing garage, where he laid on a slab of concrete in the hours before he died from hypothermia more than 3 years ago. At her upcoming trial, which is scheduled to begin Wednesday with jury selection at Suffolk County Court in Riverhead, Pollina's attorney, Matthew Toohey, said he's not going to run away from some of the more unflattering facts about his client. But he said it is indisputable that the 45-year-old mother of 3 daughters didn't spray Thomas with cold water outside the house during sub-freezing temperatures or place him in a bath afterward. actions that experts had previously testified likely led to Thomas's death. Now that's true, but that doesn't mean she's innocent at all, and Mr. Toohey is quite aware of that. She's been vilified and comes off as really not nice in a lot of ways, but she didn't do the act, and a jury can't convict her of something just because they don't like her, said her Huntington-based attorney. That's a pretty good quote, and yeah, I suppose you can't convict her just because you don't like her, but she's not innocent at all, and he's quite aware of that. All right, so we'll go over this box right here, and then we'll continue with the article. But what to know? Angela Pollina's unaliving trial in the death of 8-year-old Thomas Valva, her former fiance's son, is expected to start Wednesday with jury selection in Suffolk County Court in Riverhead. They are due in court at 9 a.m., I believe. She is charged with 1 count of second-degree unaliving and 4 counts of endangering the welfare of a child in connection with Thomas's 2020 death and the alleged abuse of Thomas and that of his older brother, Anthony. Pollina faces 25 years to life in prison on the top charge of second-degree unaliving. Her co-defendant, ex-NYPD officer Michael Valva, Thomas's father, was convicted of second-degree unaliving and 4 other charges during his trial last year. So yeah, he's in prison, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. During the trial, jurors will likely hear and see much of the same evidence that was used last year to convict her former ex-fiancé, former NYPD officer Michael Valva, of unaliving in his son Thomas's death. The videos from the Centre Morich's home surveillance system showing Thomas and his older brother Anthony sleeping uncovered on the floor of the garage. The text messages in which Pollina rages about Valva's sons, and the testimony from a plumber who said he watched Pollina throw one of the boys down the stairs while screaming and swearing. Yeah, that particular testimony should be pretty good, as well as what they do have from the surveillance system. But Toohey, in his planned presentation to the jury, said he will focus on the events of January 17th, 2020, the day that Thomas died, in an attempt to demonstrate that his client played no role in the child's death. So it looks like Mr. Toohey is basically not going to say that Angela's not a great person, but that she didn't have anything to do with him dying that day. So that looks like what the defense is got in the works. I'm not going to try to justify things that happened or things that were texted or said, said Toohey. I'm going to hone in on the act. You don't get convicted because you're not a nice person or didn't handle things the best way. Toohey said Michael Valva, who's currently serving his sentence of 25 years to life in an upstate prison about 25 miles south of the Canadian border, is solely responsible for killing Thomas, despite the prosecution's allegation that the then engaged pair, quote, acted in concert, unquote, to cause his death. The father, on his own, put the boy in a bath and he passed away, said Toohey. It's terribly tragic, but the father was in control from the beginning to the end. She just happened to be there. Well, we'll see. The district attorney's office has declined to comment, with a spokeswoman saying it doesn't comment on pending trials. Prosecutors object vigorously to the assertion that Pollina was merely a witness. Pollina is charged with second-degree unaliving in Thomas's death and with 4 counts of endangering the welfare of a child in the alleged abuse of both Thomas and his older brother Anthony. Pollina, who has pleaded not guilty to the charges, has been held without bail since her arrest about a week after Thomas died. There is little Tommy. Prosecutors have alleged that Valva and Pollina forced Thomas and Anthony, both on the autism spectrum, to sleep in the garage while the temperature was 19 degrees as punishment for bathroom accidents. The boys were fully potty trained before they went to live with their father and Pollina, and only had issues because Pollina denied them access to the bathroom while their father worked long shifts as an NYPD transit police officer, prosecutors have said. John Norrisberg, the attorney for Justina Zubko Valva, Thomas's mother, who is suing Suffolk County and Child Protective Services for $200 million for failing to protect her sons, did not respond to a message seeking comment. I don't blame her. Justina, she made a post today, and I will read it. But she wants justice for Tommy and his brother, but there's a lot I don't think she wants to say, and I don't blame her at all. Thomas and Anthony's teachers testified during Michael Valva's trial that the boys often complained about being cold and came to school complaining of hunger. One teacher said Thomas told her he wasn't fed breakfast because he didn't use my words or verbally greet Pollina or call her mommy. In text messages between Pollina and Valva displayed for the jury during Valva's trial, Pollina complained about the boys to Valva. When Valva pushed back against the boys sleeping in the garage, Pollina told him to move out if he didn't like it, testimony in the trial showed. Yeah, he's claiming that's Michael down there. He is claiming that the only reason he stayed with Pollina was because he was broke and he had nowhere else to go. So he's obviously innocent whereas her attorney's blaming him, he's blaming her. It's definitely he said, she said situation. In a February 25th, 2019 text shown to the Valva jury, Pollina wrote to her then fiancé, "If you're not going to have it anymore, then you could take him and you could leave. Not a problem. I'm not having him in this house anymore. You're using his autism as an excuse." She added, "You baby him." Yeah, she's a real winner, isn't she, guys? She truly is. Valva was in charge of parenting his children while she concentrated on her 3 daughters, Toohey said. She wanted the relationship with Valva to work, he said. Could she have been kinder? 100%, he said. Yeah, your client is definitely the evil stepmother type, that's for sure. And that's putting it mildly, Mr. Toohey. At his sentencing, Michael Valva wept and told the court he was sorry. Yeah, he's sorry for himself. "I'm regretful, ashamed, heartbroken, and grief-stricken, standing here before you, having contributed to the death of my son Thomas," Valva read from a prepared statement. "I love Thomas with all my heart, as I still love Anthony and Andrew. Never in my worst nightmare would I have imagined being responsible for Thomas's death. My sons mean everything to me. I wanted them to grow up in a loving and happy family." Yeah, that statement, definitely, I wasn't buying it. I'm still not buying it, Michael, sorry. For his part, too, he said the jury selection process will be important, and his goal is to find, quote, "open-minded," unquote, people who are well-educated and understand that, quote, "things happen," unquote, in complicated family situations. People with emotional intelligence who are fair, people who are going to follow the law, Toohey said of his ideal jury. Toohey demurred that when asked about who he might call as witnesses, as he seeks to rebuff the prosecution, although he said Pollina will definitely take the stand, saying she will 100% testify in her own defense, somewhat of a rarity for unaliving defendants. Ooh, I cannot wait to see what she's got to say and what these state gets her on cross. One person who says he plans to watch the trial is Gino Calli, the father of one of Pollina's 3 daughters. He has custody of their 11-year-old daughter. Calli, 48, a carpenter who lives in Amityville, said he's had talks with the prosecution and the defense about possibly testifying during Valva's trial, but he ultimately wasn't asked by either side. This time he's planning on being an almost daily spectator at the trial on the 4th floor of the Riverhead Courthouse, he said. Whatever happens at the end of the trial, Calli says, one fact won't change. At the end of the day, it doesn't bring Thomas back, he said. Truer words have never been said. And I may be speaking with him if he's able. If he's not a witness, he may be able to speak with me. So we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping to speak with a few folks as long as they are willing during this trial, and they're permitted to speak, and it doesn't ruin getting justice for little Tommy. But I think she's just as to blame as Michael in this entire situation. She was horrific, and she abused this little boy on the screen emotionally, psychologically, physically. She just mentally, she just abused these 2 boys. Yeah, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and I'll probably be saying it again during this trial. Only good thing that came out of this was little Tommy is up in heaven, and he saved his 2 brothers from continuing to live that horrific life. His older and younger brother are living with their mom, and they're out of the country. So I feel awful for Justina right now and the 2 brothers while they go through this. I know Justina is very aware of the trial, and she made a post today on her Facebook page. So let me pull that up. This is Justina's Facebook page, and she has mostly been posting about Tommy and her other 2 boys. So this is what she posted today. This was about an hour ago, and I'm going to read most of it here. Dear friends, the jury selection in criminal matter, People versus Angela Pollina, is scheduled to commence tomorrow on Tuesday, 2/21/2023 at 9:30 a.m. at the Suffolk County Criminal Court in Riverhead, New York. The presiding judge is Honorable Timothy Mazzei. Now, again, it was moved to Wednesday. I believe it was originally scheduled for the Tuesday, but it did move to Wednesday, and I reconfirmed that before recording today. Both Michael Valva and Angela Pollina are responsible for the brutal unaliving of my 8-year-old son, Tommy, and years of horrific SA, physical, mental abuse, and trafficking, inhumane tortures, and close-to-death starvation inflicted upon Tommy and his 2 brothers, Anthony and Andrew. Similarly to Michael Valva, Angela Pollina should be charged to the highest extent of the law and spend the rest of her life in jail without possibility of parole because her unspeakable monstrous criminal actions are identical to Valva's horrific crimes committed against my 3 innocent children. Therefore, as a person of strong faith, I place this criminal case in the hands of our Almighty God and Holy Mary and pray that justice will be served for Tommy, his brothers, and our family. Based on Valva's criminal trial proceeding, I hope you all realize that justice was served only due to tremendous mercy of God, who heard our heartfelt prayers and petitions begging our Lord for the truth to be exposed. Corruption and manipulation disappeared, and justice fully served upon all the unalivers and abusers of my children. Therefore, I would like to ask all of you, my dear friends, once again to please pray for full justice to be served in the criminal trial proceeding, People versus Angela Pollina, and any traces of unfairness, corruption, manipulation, and injustice disappear from this case. And as you can see, she is a devout Catholic Christian. So she did write some verses here. Sadly, this is Thomas's burial location. This is very sad every time I see this. There's no reason that this little boy should have suffered so much and lost his life. There's really no reason, and I'm right there with her, and there's many others, and I know you're all out there that are with Justina during this horrific time. And again, you did hear her mentioned trafficking. That's been an allegation from Justina as well. I've said I was going to look into it, but I haven't had a chance to look into that yet. If anyone has, you're more than welcome to send me an email. I'm definitely interested in learning more about any of these other allegations against Michael and Angela that are not being rightly seeking justice right now. Another issue we've got going on is that CPS and the judge who granted custody of the boys to Michael, those are still in the air. They're still pending. Nothing has really happened in that case. And Suffolk County was supposed to be investigating CPS. And from what I understand, that hasn't really happened yet. So I started to look into that during the holidays, and I didn't get very far. So again, if you know more on that, please let me know. We need to make sure that justice is served for this little boy. Tommy asked for help. He asked for help. He asked not only his school, but there was a Child Protection Services representative there one day, and he told them what was going on, and they didn't do a damn thing about it. So that is disgusting. It truly is. But this is Tommy right here, and this is the reason for the justice that we're seeking. Again, once you hear his story, it's hard not to want justice for this little guy. As soon as I heard about this case last year, I became heartbroken. It's a heartbreaking case, and it's horrific. And like I said, it's just not getting attention that it really should. Yeah, I know there's a lot of horrific, horrible things happening in the world, practically everywhere these days. But I think that this case should be heard about more than just in Long Island, New York, or New York itself. I think that we need to make sure it gets out, and if you can get the word out on your socials, post about little Tommy during this trial. That would be wonderful if you feel like you would like to do that. But the biggest thing is we want justice for little Tommy Valva, and for his brothers. That's also coming. But this trial is all about this little face on the screen and his brother, who both suffered horrific abuse, and he paid the ultimate price for it. He was left in a cold garage on the cement floor in 19-degree temperatures at Angela Pollina's home. And the next morning, when he woke up to go to school, his father poured water on him, cold water outside. And he also fell multiple times. And this little guy died. For what? For nothing. And this is why we need to make sure that this does not happen to someone else's child. So there's anybody who hurts a child, I can't even fathom, guys. The words, I can't even. So, where she wants to blame everything on that day, and that's what her attorney wants to do. You know, during this trial that's about to begin this week, he wants to say, "Oh, Angela, yeah, you know, she's an evil stepmother type, you know, and sure, we could think of her as, you know, like from the movies, like she's an awful person, but you know, she may have done horrific things to this sweet boy and his brother, but she didn't have anything to do with his death that morning. That you know, she didn't do any of that. I don't buy it for a hot second. She is part of the reason he and his brother were sleeping on that floor. Cold cement floor in a garage. No mattresses, no blankets, no pillows, nothing. Can you imagine sleeping in 19-degree temperatures on a concrete floor in a garage in New York? I just can't. I can't imagine being outside in like 30 or 40 degrees here in Florida. But this is horrific. And my heart goes out to Justina completely. And the best thing we can all do is pray and hope for justice to continue to be served for this little guy. And yeah. So that's going to be it for this one. I want to make sure you guys stay up to date on this one. I know I had a lot of folks following during Michael's trial. I'm going to be right on this one. Like I said, her jury selection begins Wednesday. So I'll definitely have a video up on Wednesday night once I see what's going on. And thanks to Newsday and Patch and those folks that are able to attend the trial in person. And if you are one that is able to attend the trial in person and you would like to help out with giving and reporting my way, please drop me an email and I will definitely give you credit for any and everything you're able to provide here on this case. Alright guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day. Please hit that like button on the way out, and also hit subscribe if you haven't already, and the notification bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. Alright guys, have a great rest of the day, and most of all, stay safe.